Priority seating, disabled versus Mombi. Hey everyone, welcome back to Childfree for Life. Don't forget to subscribe to be a for lifer. I was reminded of this by a few other posts. It happened a few years ago. I'm legally blind, so I sit in the front of the bus so the driver can tell me when to get off my stop. This is where the priority seating for disabled, elderly, and parents with strollers sit. I'm sitting right behind the driver and there are 2 seats available next to me and 1 available across from me. We pull up to a stop and a lady with one of those 2-seat strollers gets in. She looks at me and tells me I need to move. I tell her there are 2 spots next to me she can use or the ones across, but I need this seat. But she has babies! And this is the priority seating, so she needs it more. I again tell her no, she can choose an empty seat, but she doesn't get to take the whole bench. She goes on about needing the seat for her kids and the stroller won't fit in the back. Told her again, I needed this seat and I was not moving. Nobody in the bus is saying anything. She just stares at me. I ask her if she's going to tell me when we get to my stop. Why does she think her and her kids are more deserving of this seat than I am? Why hasn't she asked anyone else to move? Then I grab my cane, which had been right next to me propped up in the corner. I hadn't gotten a folding one yet. She apparently hadn't seen it and tells me I should have told her I was disabled. I tell her if she's too blind to see a reflective cane sitting against the wall, she should talk to Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services because she needs one for herself. That's when the driver tells her she needs to sit down. So she does, leaving her stroller in the middle of the aisle. The driver then tells her she needs to fold it up and get out of the aisle because it's a hazard. She refuses at first, using the excuse, "Where are my babies supposed to sit?" One is still a baby while the other is a toddler. Driver says he doesn't care as long as the stroller is out of the way. She tries to get me to hold her baby while the toddler gets a seat. I laugh at her no, scooching away. She calls me a bee. I tell her it takes one to know one. This lady rides for 1 stop and gets off. That's 2 blocks. The rest of the ride was peaceful and the driver did actually tell me when we got to my stop. They don't always do. It's a pain. Crap like this gets so aggravating. People just assume that you don't have disabilities just because they can't see it. And who the frick wants a stranger to hold their child? You have arms. Hold your own crib, lizard. Had this happened to me on the train, I have 9 bulging discs and abnormal spine curvatures which can cause numbness in my arms and legs, and a whole host of other BS. So if I'm feeling extra bad, I take a disability seat. Guess what, Mombies? Our disabilities weren't a choice. Having kids is. If I feel as though someone needs a seat more than I do, I will give it to them. Moms and pregnant ladies don't fall into that category. I'm the same. If I use a train and just need a stop or 2, I'll stand unless I'm having a bad knee day. And the people with suitcases. Your suitcase doesn't get a whole disabled area. I have a similar story, and I'm also disabled with disabling symptoms that impact my vision significantly. None of my doctors have said it classifies as low vision, but the problems are certainly disabling. I also have other disabilities including POTS and suspected Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means that standing is both painful and dangerous for me. I was using a walking cane for balance and had a dog, whose name was Saria, wearing a guide harness and a mobility cape. Plus, I wear sunglasses because it is the only way I can see anything with my light sensitivity, which basically means I fall into that stereotypical disabled look that gets people to leave me alone. We had been on the bus for about 15 minutes out of the 40-minute bus trip, and I found myself a seat next to some elderly individuals in the priority seating section. Across the aisle were more elderly individuals sitting in the other priority seats. My cane was positioned between my legs, folded to about half size, and my dog lay quietly in front of my feet, as space did not exist under the seat where I preferred to have her. When Momzilla entered the scene with her 1 child in a giant stroller, past the sign that instructed parents to fold up their little baby pet mobiles, of course she stormed up to me, the young 20-year-old female with a dog and cane, to demand I give her my seat. I, of course, refused, which made her even madder. I will save the details as there was some back and forth that is unimportant until the man sitting beside me pretty much told her that 1, I was there first, and 2, I'm clearly disabled. The Momzilla then tried to claim that her son was autistic and needed a seat, to which the old man informed her that the kid could sit on her lap or she could hold him as he was still young enough for that. It was about this point that the bus driver told her to either fold up the stroller or get off. She did after some back and forth, but as the ride proceeded, she chooses to throw things at my dog. And the man beside me informed me that she was actively pushing the stroller towards my dog. Clearly she was trying to get my dog to react, and the only thing my dog did was to stand up to avoid having the stroller fall on her. The bus driver proceeded to call security, who had police meet us at the next stop. I gave my statement, and so did the other passengers, and I'm not sure what ended up happening. I do sincerely hope she was charged with something. It seems like the bus company was pushing for it though. I did make a point of getting Sari a very special treat once we arrived at our destination. She handled it beautifully. I remember being on the bus once, home from college, and was supporting a classmate who has cerebral palsy and needs help getting on and off public transport. She can't walk up the stairs and is in constant pain, so needs to sit in the priority seats. On the outside, especially when she's seated, she looks like a perfectly healthy teenager. Her disability is invisible. While this woman comes onto the bus, quite heavily pregnant, takes one look at my classmate and goes, "Move." No, excuse me or pardon, just move. She demanded that she give up her seat because she's pregnant and there's nothing wrong with my classmate. She informed her that she has cerebral palsy, and this bee literally goes, "I don't care, I'm pregnant." My friend refused to move. Rightly so, and this woman goes on a rant about how if she falls, she lose her baby. The seats at the front are for pregnant women. There's nothing wrong with my classmate. She shouldn't be getting transport if she's disabled. Yes, she really said that. And started calling her all these ableist slurs. My classmate didn't have to move anyway, but especially being spoken to like that? No way. The thing is, there were literally empty seats behind the priority ones, but of course, little Miss Prego can't walk the extra step to those seats. She literally stood there holding onto the rail when the bus started moving, nagging about if she falls and loses her baby, it'll be my classmate's fault. What cracked me up though was when she said to my classmate, "What's your disability, being lazy?" As if that's any of her business, my classmate replied, "What's yours, spreading your legs?" Freaking cracked me up, I swear. Ugh, I'm so sorry. I love that your driver was helpful though. I'm effectively disabled due to joint problems, but I look young and healthy. So many times people have asked me that I get out of my seat for someone else. Once it was an older lady that I had just seen sprint across the street. I cannot do that. Often it is a pregnant woman. If the handicapped seats are taken and someone actually needs it more than I do, I will move. But the entitlement and assumptions are aggravating. Sometimes I even get off the bus and wait for the next one. Adding 15 minutes to my trip, at least I can sit at the bus stop. It is so frustrating. People just assume that you don't have disabilities just because they can't see it. I'm disabled, but don't look it at all. I've gotten in situations like yours so many times that I will now just loudly proclaim, "What? I don't look disabled enough for you?" This usually dismisses them pretty quickly. You know, in East Asia, it is incredibly rude to bring a stroller onto transportation. It is why parents use baby wraps. I don't know why we have not adopted this here. A stroller can take up so much space. You don't need a freaking huge stroller for freak's sake. Of course they don't need them. They want them to use as their personal demolition derby vehicles. Go to any zoo or amusement park or just any city street and you'll see the Mombi and Daddick Brigade using these behemoths to mow down everyone else. God forbid anyone else gets to go to Starbucks before them, where they will no doubt commander every table they can to spread out all the stuff they think they need for a quick coffee run. You can send an expedition to climb Mount Everest with less stuff. Had my ankle broken at Disney World once because a lady just full-on rammed me in line to the bathroom. Didn't even have a kid with her, just an empty stroller to push her way through the line with. Kudos for using a phrase I haven't seen, crib lizard. I hope you never have to encounter that again. Unfortunately, these occurrences are common, not just with breeders either. My husband and I went to Check Stop, the best freaking kolaches, this past Friday, and had some girls cut in front of me and I let that go. They had some coffee cups on a rotating shelf I was looking at. I'm pretty close bent a little bit. And this twit starts moving it. I don't say anything. I wait until she's done moving it and move it back to where it was before she can do anything. She didn't say anything, just turned around.